All right, boys and girls, welcome back to the drive-thru for a special 2016 edition. Let's hear it for 2016. All right, as always, the drive-thru is sponsored by the deli. Hungry? Stop by the deli and get yourself a salad, maybe, if you're into losing weight, which I need to be. All right. This is 8-1, ratios and proportions, okay? Two words that you should be very familiar with, so this should be a quick video. A ratio is simply a fraction, okay? It is a quotient of two numbers, but the difference between a fraction and a ratio is that a ratio can be written with three different things in between the two numbers. So you could see it written like a fraction, A over B. What's another way you could see it? A colon B or A to B with the English word to, T-O. Okay? A proportion is simply two equal fractions. So A is to B like X is to Y. That's very important mathematical concept, proportions. You can use proportions to solve so many things. You could almost teach a whole class just based on proportions. Okay? And then I just want to remind you about the arithmetic mean. The arithmetic mean is just the mean. And the mean is just the what? Just the average, exactly. Okay? So to find the arithmetic mean of two numbers, you would do A plus B divided by 2. That'll be able to help us parallel something later. So, the introduction to today's lesson is done, and we're moving on. Okay, so remember these proportions we just talked about? Can someone please give me two equal fractions? Okay, what if I started out with 2/5, class? Can someone give me another fraction that's equal to that? 4/10. Thank you. All right, well, just a little bit of a review. Those fractions are equivalent because they give you the same value, 0.4. These things are going to be referred to as the means because they're in the middle. That's right. Those things are the smallest one and the biggest ones, so therefore they will be referred to as the extremes. Okay? The means extremes theorem says if we have this scenario where A over B is equal to C over D, thank you, Andy, then what? What do you think? AD is equal to BC. So what would you guys call the means extremes theorem? You would call it the cross multiply theorem, which is totally fine. Okay? Does everybody understand the means extremes theorem? AKA the cross multiply theorem. All right, moving on. You guys are doing good. Okay, so, I skipped one. So, the geometric mean is something that's new. So remember, how do we find the arithmetic mean? You would add them and then divide them, okay? So, to find the geometric mean, let's say, of X and Y, you multiply them, and then you square root them. Okay? I'll do another example. I'll add it on to the end about geometric mean. It's fine. You guys will be fine with it. Okay? So far, so good? All right, so let's look at some of the examples. First of all, make sure you read through the sample problems in your book if you get stuck on the homework. A lot of these questions are really easy, but the wording might intimidate you. So if you look at an example problem, you'll feel a lot better. So, for example, find the fourth term of a proportion. Well, that might confuse you. And you'll look in the example, and they'll see that all they're asking you to do is to set up first is to second, like the fourth, or the third is to the fourth. So you set it up like that. Anytime you have a variable by itself, you can just cross multiply and then divide. So it's 12 divided by 2. So you get x is 6. Not hard at all. Okay? Okay, this is something that many of you are going to miss on your first quiz, which is next Tuesday, but we'll talk about that later. If 3x equals 4y, then what's the ratio of x to y? Everyone's like, duh, 3/4. Let's move on. You're wrong. It's not 3/4. Okay? 3 times x, right, equals 4 times y. So is the answer 3/4? No. What's the ratio? If y over x is 3/4, then the ratio of x to y is the same thing as that, right? So then what's x over y? You got to flip it. It's 4/3. So make sure you pay close attention to those. Okay? Example 3. Find the mean proportional which is just the geometric mean. It's the same thing. Those are synonyms. Mean, proportional, and geometric mean are the same things. Okay? Of, let's go with 8 and 2. 4 is exactly what I would say. And I would get it half right. I do this all the time, even when I'm making the keys. That's right. The geometric mean is plus or minus 4. Because when you take the square root of 16, it gives you 2 answers. It gives you 2 answers. Does that make sense? Okay? So again, to do that, you would do geometric mean is the square root of 8 times 2, which is the square root of 16, which is plus or minus, oh no, 4. Okay, and we're going to finish with a review. The good news is you guys are way smarter than I was when I was your age, or even when I was a couple years older than you. You have access to way better information, probably better schools and better instruction, and maybe even better parents, because that's how the world goes. It's not that your parents were better than my parents, but parenting has gotten better, school has gotten better, technology has gotten better. But here's the problem. Number sense has gotten worse, and that's just because you had access to technology way longer than I did. So when you see that, some of you have a hard time breaking that down into 8 times 9. Okay? Those people are going to struggle for the next couple weeks. But the really good number sense people, when they do that, they see that. And why did I choose 36? It was the biggest possible perfect square that could be entered into 72. So how do we simplify that? 6 radical 2. Okay? Does that make sense? All right, so let's practice another one. How about square root of 80. See if you can get that one right. You can use a calculator. A good thing to do is when you get into these, just like on your homework, write these down, right? Like on just write 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81. I thought I just skipped one, but I'm good. 100, 121, 144, 169. You can keep going if you want. All right. What's the biggest number on that list that goes into 80? Have you guys come up with the answer already? What's the biggest number on that list that goes into 80? It is indeed 16. So this is 4 radical 5. If you would have done it a different way, you probably would have chosen 4, right? So you would have had to do 4 times 20, which is 2 times 20, which is 2 times 4 times 5, which is 2 times 2 times 5, which is 4 times 5. Okay? 4 times radical 5.
With the other way, I usually do it for this kind of stuff is I just break it down into prime factors.
Okay.
To pick out perfect squares and then just multiply them together.
Can you get a boom for that?